So then, nonetheless, it's all right me going in all this fluffy stuff, isn't it? Christian Prince is getting the Muslims out of Islam. What are the Catholics doing? We knew bad stuff, you might say. Last week, bad stuff. Giving the Muslims the idea that that their religion is a way to salvation. Okay, here's an example. And I'm going to stop this video. I'm not going to do this video, but I'm going to give you a taste of what I'm going to do a video about maybe next, maybe shortly, maybe in a few days. I don't know yet, but I will do. Here, this is what Christian Prince needs to see. I'll put it close to the camera. Put it very close because I'm not sure where you actually see it well. The Virgin Mary, Zeitun, Egypt, 1968 and 1969. And for those of you who are Copts, here's a nice picture for you. John Paul II and Pope Shenouda III, and here's the writing, just to give you a bit of a summary of this whole thing. Again, I'll put it close, bring it back a bit. All right. It's not just 1968 and 1969, the apparitions went on till 1971, I think. Zeitun is a district in Cairo, in Egypt, an overwhelmingly Muslim country. The Blessed Virgin Mary appeared there. Now, I'll tell you this. Some of you might say, oh no, it was a demon. It was a demon. This demon, as you call her, bowed to the cross on top of the church in an Islamic country, being seen by hundreds of thousands of Muslims. She bowed to the cross. She was on top of a church, not a mosque. What did that do to those Muslims? Many converted exteriorly. But I guess how many will have converted interiorly because of that? Just a little kind of, well, I've done a video, because I can't go on too much because I've got to do the video about this. In the apparitions, in the visions of Maria Valtorta, and one of my early videos was about how there's such detailed information about the Holy Family in Egypt, which St. Matthew tells us about very briefly in the visions from Maria Valtorta. And I did an entire 2 videos about this. And, you know, why did she appear in Zeitun? Because Zeitun was the district through which she passed with Joseph and the child when they were escaping Herod. They settled in Matarea. I won't go into that. So that's why she appears at Zeitun. Because St. Mary's Coptic Church is the site upon which they are supposed to have stayed. Millions saw Mary. Millions of Muslims saw Mary. The Egyptian police tried to find out the fraud. They couldn't. The authorities accepted this was a phenomenon they couldn't explain. Mary is going to convert a vast number of Muslims. Vast numbers of Muslims. Make no mistake, what Christian Prince is achieving, and God bless him. And may the Arab Christian world rise up and do what he's doing, because the ability to read Arabic is central to defeating Islam. But in their entire lifetimes, they will not achieve what this woman, the Blessed Mother of God, has achieved and will go on to achieve. Islam is going to fall. She is the one who crushes the head of the serpent, Genesis 3:15. She is going to crush all the works of the devil. She, in our litany, is the vanquisher of all heresies. And Islam is a heresy of Christianity. It starts off with the real Muhammad, a probable warrior, Aryan Christian of some sort. That's what it really is about. That's how it starts. That's a heresy. She's going to crush it. She's going to liberate these Muslims. We tried our best to do so since the First Crusade, which was called by Pope in Clermont in France Which pope was it? It's terrible. Pope. No, it's escaped me. It'll come back to me if I don't try to think of it. Called the First Crusade. We end up with the Seventh Crusade. King Louis IX of France. He spent a vast amount. He mortgaged France for this. He was cured of an incurable illness, and our great sainted French king, and France is the first daughter of the church, and France will rise. And I will talk about that in another video. But here, King Louis IX landed his vast army in Egypt, the Seventh Crusade in the 13th century. Defeated the Muslims at Damietta. And but for a failure to follow orders in the ranks, may well have changed the history of the world. But in the end, he was defeated, taken prisoner. Eventually, there was a great crusader though. But these are total 100% Catholics. These are the men who saved European civilization. How can you say that we who honoured Mary, who kiss her statues, who kiss her paintings, are somehow in error when it was we who built this civilization, we who saved this civilization? We are blasphemers, aren't we? We are idol worshippers. And how can we have achieved so much? How is it only us who saved our civilization, who launched efforts to retake Islamic civilization, to liberate Muslims from Islam? How is that? Well, St. Louis landed in Egypt. He didn't achieve his aim. It was not God's will at the time. Or it may have been God's will, but God will work with human wills, and if they don't do what they're told in battle, then the whole enterprise can be lost. And Mary has said that some apparitions have been frustrated because of men, Catholic men, by the way. There are reasons to argue against, to criticise our priests. But it's not the ones Christian princes using. But Mary came to Egypt in 1968, 500 years plus after the failure of King St. Louis IX. And her impact was astonishing. But you think, okay, amazing, 1968, that's modern times. And here, well, I won't go into it, but there's more. Blessed Mother appeared for 5 years, again in Egypt. I'll talk about that too. She appeared again in the late 90s in Egypt, 1997. She appeared at Asyut in Egypt in 2001. She appeared at Warak, Al-Warak in 2009. I watched on TV, is either Channel 4 or the BBC. The BBC reporter Caroline Hawley was seeing. She was there in Egypt because she'd been sent there by the BBC because everybody was seeing these lights flashing all over the place in this particular region around this church. She couldn't explain them. The Egyptian authorities couldn't explain them. And the video was available on the BBC. You can't see it now because I don't know why. It's so old. But you know, Egypt is special. The Holy Family walked there. If they'd have walked in this country, although I believe England is special, I'm not so sure St. Joseph of Arimathea really did walk here. But Egypt is special. And the visitations to it remind me of the visitations to the visitations of Mary to it remind me of the visitations to France of the Blessed Virgin Mary during the 19th century. And because we're actually moving towards some denouement in our history, I think we ought to kind of pay attention to the work of Mary for the conversion, perhaps first of Egypt, fulfilling what Louis IX hoped to achieve. And from Egypt onward, we have over the other side the Shiites. For Egypt, of course, is Sunni. The Shiites in Iran, huge numbers converting to Christianity. Will these be the two pincers, like the Zulus had their impy regiments, who would be two pincers, to try to enclose the British army, and they did in Isandlwana and massacred them, but didn't achieve it in Rorke's Drift in 1879. But here, the unassailable Holy Virgin, and a part of God's holy plan that these two wings, Iran, Egypt, will come together to gradually squeeze the life out of Islam and bring it to faith. This is a supernatural work. Christian Prince can't do it. We can't do it, even if every Christian, every Catholic in the world tried it, couldn't do it. This is the work of God, and we know that it can be done, and it is being done because of these apparitions. And if you believe this is a demon, then poor you, because this demon is bringing people away from the darkness of Islamism to Christ. And that's quite a bit of talk on this, but I want to go into it more detail on another occasion. So God bless you all, and pray for Christian Prince as I do, but for now, perhaps not to get close to his work. Amen. And God bless you, Christian Prince. I wish you well.